Hey guys, Adrian here from kvboards.com. I'm going to show you today how to install one of our 10S BMS. Of course, you're going to need two. This is a dual LiPo pack. So these are two 5S batteries. And there is your balance cables for charging. So this is run in series. When it's plugged into the speed controller, this is run in series. So I also use one of these to series it up. Some of them are made from cables and some are just made like that, but they're soldered inside of here. They're just soldered directly through to a negative and positive. You see how they're flipped around, and then they come out on this side. So I'm going to plug this in real quick. Okay, so the connector, the series connector is plugged in. So it's connected both of those and turned it into a 10S on this side. So now getting into the connection, I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible. Your primary positive wire, you're probably going to wonder when you're connected to one of these plugs which one that's going to be. And on here, for those who don't know, there's a plus on the side of this. So your square side is the plus. So technically, if you were to cut this heat shrink off, this would be, your positive would run straight through here. So I know that this is the primary positive. So this is the pack. So I'm going to separate this. This is the primary pack. So we'll jump right over to the balance wires, and your red wire on here is always going to be your positive. Your positive, this positive wire is connected in directly to there, directly into your main power. So you need to start with pin 1. Now the BMS. The BMS on the back here, you can see it's labeled 1 through 10. You always start at pin number 10, so this will be pin number 10 is your red wire here. This is going to connect into the red wire here. Okay, and then it just goes down from there. So this is 10, and then you'll hook up the very next wire right next to it. This yellow wire. This is going to be 9. That'll plug right into the next connector, which will be the black one. Don't pay attention any other colors on here. Don't pay attention. All these rainbow colors, I know it gets confusing, but there's nothing to be confused about because the wires, majority of these wires don't even make sense to color, so it really doesn't matter. You're going all the way down. So, you know, you'll start 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So I'm going to connect these into here real quick and show you how it looks on there. The red to the red, and then so on right there. Okay guys, so now I have them in there. Like I said, I'm starting with the red, and I just connected the first few wires in a row. You see how it's yellow, white, whatever. Same thing here. The red, yellow, white, and so on. So now this entire pack right here is connected into the BMS, and I still have these few wires here. So now I'm going to jump to the other battery. Now on this other battery, the only thing that matters is the end of the pack, because you got the positive starting wire on here, you're going to have the ending wire on here. So this red wire, the very first red wire, you're going to ignore that completely. You're not going to plug anything into there. So you're going to start with the next one down, which is going to be the black wire. You know, the very second pin right here. So I'm going to go ahead and start plugging these in. So the color coding will be yellow, white, orange, and black. Stand by while I plug that in. All right, now, you see how I ignored the very first red wire and started on the next lead over, and then just went all the way down, yellow, white, orange, black, and you can see on here, yellow, white, orange, black. So now I've reached the very end, which is going to be the very first pin here. So now that I have those connected, you're going to be like, wait a minute. So you have all of these plugged in on your primary battery. Then you skip that one, which is understandable. You plugged all these balance cables into here, but you still have your black lead at the very end. See, you still have that open port right there. And pay attention to that open port, because I was a little confused by some other videos that I've watched in the past. I'm going to show you exactly what is going to plug into there, which will make it complete. The only thing that's going to be left with nothing plugged in is going to be that very first wire on this balance side. So let's move on. All right, so the next thing I'm going to use, or I'm going to show you that I use, is just an extension cable. And this had a, you see it just ties in. You got one wire tied into the positive and one tied into the negative. Now I have these cables available for purchase, or you can find them online. I mean, they're just, XT60 extension cables. This makes it a lot easier for what we're gonna use it for. So now we're going to take that 10S connection and we can plug it in here. I'm not going to plug it in here yet because these wires are live. I don't want them to short out. And I'm going to show you exactly where these go here in a second. I also have a hoverboard charging port, which is going to be your most common type of charging port because they work with the cheaper chargers. And the negative and positive, you can buy these from me directly, or you can find them online. So I'm going to show you how all this stuff connects into this BMS and exactly where each wire goes. So the first thing is the negative. We're going to go ahead and connect of the charging port. You got a negative and positive on the charging port. On this BMS board, you're going to have a CH port right there. CH means charging. Your negative is where you're going to have your charge lead. Okay? So give me 1 second, and I'm just going to connect that in real quick. So now that we have the negative wire connected into the CH port, we're still left with the positive wire. You only have a negative and positive on the charging port, so where does this positive wire going to go to? Well, if you come back to this extension cable that I used, like I said, it had a JST connection at the end. I just stripped it off, so now you just stuck with a negative and positive. And that just connects into your main positive power there. See that? And then that'll plug into your series connector right there. But again, I'm not plugging that in, not yet, because we don't want to short anything out. So your positive goes to your positive, so I'm just going to twist those up. Okay, so now that the red wire is twisted up to the end of the charging cable, we're going to move to the negative wire here on this little extension. So you only have a negative and positive on there. So now if you're wondering where this negative one goes, if you come back to your BMS board here, up in this corner, you can see that little bar that runs across right here. This little connection in the corner is where that negative, this negative wire is going to plug into. So I'm going to twist this together in there, and also there's one more wire that we're going to connect into there, into that same exact port, into this same, we're going to have two wires running into here, into this end connection right here. Can you guess which one it is? It is going to be that last balance connector from your the very last cell in your battery is going to run from here to the end of there. So you'll have those two wires. And that will complete the setup for charging. And then obviously the end of this is going to connect into your VESC or your speed controller or whatever you're giving power to, whatever you're going to plug into. This is all you have to worry about in the end. This whole other setup, once you put it real nice in your electric skateboard case, it's going to be nice. So let me connect these two and I'll show you what we're going to do next. Alright, so now I took that very last connector, which is the black wire, and the end of the battery, the negative, and I just had this piece of like orangish wire, so don't pay attention to the color. And as you can see, I just twisted it on the end of the BMS right there. And then I took the black wire, and that's also, you got both of them twisted in there. I mean, you know, when I put this together on a skateboard, I'm going to solder everything and make everything look pretty. But for right now, I'm just demonstrating where the wires go to. So that runs to the negative of the extension cable. So now basically it's ready to plug into here. So now we can plug in this connector. We have the charging port. And again, the charging port just runs, the red wire runs into the main on the extension cable here. And the negative just runs into the side right here where it says CH. Okay. So I'm going to connect this into here, and then we'll have power. And that's when I'm going to bring in the charger. The charger has a little 3-pin connector also. I don't know if you can see that very well, and it's keyed. You can only plug it in one way. So I'm going to plug this in to here, and I'll plug that into there, and then we'll get it all charging up and see what it looks like. Alright guys, so everything is plugged in. The connector is plugged in. I did pull one of these out to show you what the extension cable looks like before I snipped off the end. That's your JST, and I just used a pair of cutters and just cut them off. So I was able to wire everything in. Battery brick is plugged in there. You see it's a green light. This will be red actually. The batteries are actually fully charged. I had them charging overnight. And I also stocked these, which will show you the battery percentage. And it just has a red and black wire on it. So if you wanted to hook one of these up, you would hook the black wire into the corner right there where the other two wires are. I got plugged in here on the BMS. You hook the negative there, and then the positive, remember where I twisted these? Twisted the positive. You're basically just hooking it into your main negative and positive. So let me get these hooked up real quick, and we'll take a look at the battery percentage. Alright, so I got the black wire connected in there, so we got a total of 3 wires into there. This is a nice blue color. See, it shows the battery is at 100%. And the red wire I just got coming. I just twisted that on to those other 2 red wires. So that's it. That's why you don't have a you don't have a red light on these chargers. And this is a hoverboard charger. So I also stock these, or you can find them online. What I'm going to try to do is maybe put together an entire kit with all of these connectors. Obviously you'll need to solder things on, solder your wires and connections on. The way I'm going to do it, I don't know. Some people may recommend doing it other ways, whatever. But the way I'm going to do this for my board, for using what I have here with these batteries on my personal board, is I'm just going to bend these over and hot glue. I'm going to hot glue the connectors so the connectors never move. I'm just going to put hot glue all over them. And then I'll probably wrap this BMS, I'll solder these on, these connections on, and I'll wrap it into a pack up here and then put them in a container. And then I'll mount the charge port on the side. So on the little side of the housing. So whenever my battery runs out, I can simply just plug in the charger and it'll start charging. And then I'll mount one of these, probably face up. I might cut a hole in the deck or something and screw it down so I can just look down at my board when I'm riding and see the percentage that I have left. Now there's a catch to this. Using one of these will tell you the percentage of the voltage that you have in your batteries. It does not tell you your cutoff voltage for your particular speed controller or your VESC or whatever. If you have a VESC, you're the one that sets that in the settings. If you have one of those like dual hub motor with the all-in-one ESC controllers, I can't remember what those cut off at, but your battery technically might say 50% or whatever when it actually cuts off or whatever, and those have a monitor on it anyway. So what you can do is just test it and figure out what the actual number is when the battery gets down to a certain point, because they cannot go to 0% because the battery would be completely dead. So I think the cutoff, the lowest you should probably go safely is like 3.2. I wouldn't go below 3.2. So, but this is not going to calculate that. This is calculate based on 10S, the percentage of charge that you have in there, or a percentage of battery that you have left. So, if 3.2, if you have your VESC cut off at 3.2, this may be 40% battery left or something like that. So just figure it out, play with it, and see where it cuts off, because it'll probably consistently cut off at the exact same spot. So you'll know what your actual zero is. If you know it's 35% or whatever is your actual zero, when you're getting close to that, you better not be somewhere where you're gonna be walking. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, my name is Adrian from kvboards.com. I'm going to try to get this stuff, like I said, the individual components and everything added to the website. If you guys need to purchase anything, just let me know. The BMSs we carry here for $15, and then, all the different accessories, it kind of adds up. You can customize and make it any way you want to, but I just prefer to spend the extra money and get the connectors and make it easier to set up. But I hope this was a good tutorial on how to connect these types of BMSs, and every BMS is different. They make every different type of BMS, so the connections are different. So using this particular one as reference works in this case because this is the exact model that you would receive. Anyways, I hope you all have a good day.